Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel Foran.
What's up, everybody? It's Herschel Foran from High School Top 200, and welcome to the Monday morning meeting. Thanks for coming back, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you are not on my socials and not following me, or if this is the first time, I'm Herschel Foran. I run the High School Top 200, all opinion based, just so everybody knows from the beginning. This is all opinion based, right? But follow me on High School Top 200 on Facebook, at the real HS Top 200 on Instagram. Jump on my TikTok, which is HS Top 200 as well, and also subscribe to my website, which is hstop200.com. It's $5 for a subscription. So if you want to go somewhere to find everything that you can find, or everything that's out there with First 15 Rugby, you come to hstop200.com, and it's $5 for a subscription. You know, I know a bunch of you guys have your coffees in the morning. Some of you guys have 7 every day, something like that. Save one of those, subscribe to it, get all the information for High School Top 200. First 15, all the rugby that you can get, especially here at high school level, where nobody else pretty much does it, so it's kind of just me. I mean, if you got other alternatives, you can go there, but I'm guarantee you I'm not going to have more than what I have. So, you know, help us out. The more you help me out, the more I can give back. And showcase as much First 15 Rugby and all the kids that are out there too, because they work hard, so I try and work hard so I can promote them as well. Because I'm all about opportunities and trying to find opportunities for kids and give them opportunities to shine and, you know, to show what they can do. They work hard, so, you know, that's why I do this. We've got such a big week, and I'm going to start off with I will start off with the changing of the number 1 team in the country. Now I know that St. Kinnigas has not lost a game. I also know that Tauranga has not lost a game. But the reason why it's changed is because the scores that Tauranga boys are putting up against Super 8 teams, even Hamilton boys don't really do that, like how they have been doing it. You know, it's just massive scores, and when you watch their games, they it seems like they're doing it with ease. All right, they seem like they're doing it with a lot of confidence, a lot of teamwork, because it does take teamwork to sort of play at that kind of level. And what I can see from that team is that there is no egos in that team. I have kind of, like, when you look over them, right, there's no egos in the team. Everyone's got their parts to play. Everybody does what they're supposed to do, and they seem like a team that is okay with taking criticism from other players in the team. And even like a guy like Charlie Sinton, who's already a New Zealand secondary school player, even him, when you kind of watch him and listen to him on the field, he's not like a blame guy. He's not a complainer. That's like another thing that I've noticed about Tauranga boys, is that they don't complain to the ref. Like, players don't complain. They kind of leave it to Charlie, or like Aiden will talk, but everybody else kind of just shuts up and just plays the game. And it's like because it's like one of those things where and this is not just first 15 players. This is even like club rugby and even professionals. They think they can argue their case instead of just going, I'm not going to change this guy's mind. Like, we're not old TJ Perenara, so like, let's just get back, let Charlie talk or let Aiden talk, and sort of just point things out. And what I like is that even when they don't get calls, or if they don't get things going their way, they almost like take the responsibility on themselves to go, okay, if we're not going to get the calls, then we're not going to change it. We'll just change it from our side, and we'll just keep to whatever structures and things that we're doing, and sort of get on with it. That's kind of like what their team is, like, kind of like a get on with it team. And it's funny too, because like, when you watch them play, they seem to play with a lot of fun, and they seem to play, and like, of course winning is fun. It's like, of course you're going to be saying like, well, they're winning every game by like 40-50 points sometimes, so it's like, of course you'd be alright, like, playing. But then even in the tough times, they still seem to get it going, based on the fact that it's just sort of like good energy and good vibes throughout the whole team. Even when mistakes are made, or someone's timing is off, it's almost like, okay, sweet as, let's just reset and let's just go again. Like, we're still in our spot that we need to attack from. We still got the players here that we need for our next phase. Let's just go and do that and just carry on, instead of just running their mouth and sort of blaming it on someone. Is just like, well, that's fine. We still got the next 58 minutes to go. It's like, we don't need to panic. So, and then having that, obviously Charlie's going to be a major factor, but then I think Iopo, him and Nikolai up front, along with Tiwai as the three front rowers, because they're such big body dudes, they're going to press their weight every single time, but they're also like hard workers, and I feel like you can leave them on for the full 70 minutes and they will just play it. Like, I don't think that I think they're like really, really fit guys. They seem like it. They seem like they're really fit players. And so like, when you have big boys like that can scrum, they can carry the ball, they can make tackles, they can, lend their weight, clean up bodies, things like that, everything else seems to go right. Because it sets that platform, because like, even with Leo and Tom, and Locks, I mean Caleb as well, but I mean, like, Leo and Tom, like Tom Dyer to me is like one of those guys as well, where you need that kind of like grunt second rower, especially when you have Luke Mitchell and Jay and Aiden as well at the 6, 7 and 8. It gives them the opportunity to not commit so much to the rucks, and it just gives everybody else more space and more opportunities to to break the lines in other areas. And that's what I feel like is going on. Mason Verster doesn't hold the ball too long at 10. Judah and Kelly seem to have the green light to just use their speed, use their footwork, and then sort of play off how they feel. And then you've got Aaron Riley, who kind of just it feels like he's floating in and out of situations, and he just finds himself in the right spot. But then he's like a smooth runner in the way that he finds his gaps, and then it just seems to open up all the time. And like you notice when they score tries, it's always like a quick change of pace from big bashing kind of situations to just a smooth backline feel of Judah hitting it up and taking those hits. And then you've got someone like who's a big muscle man like Aiden Roy, who can crash as well. But then when Aiden Spratley comes in, and then he links up with Kelly or links up with Judah again, and then Aaron's on the end of that, or like Dylan Henderson, the speed of it just changes all the time, you know. And it's just flowing. It's just a great system that they're playing in, and right now I don't think there's anybody else that can sort of match that. And it's going to be interesting too with when they play against Hamilton, because at this point I don't think Hamilton can beat Tauranga. And I think Tauranga is like a good 15-20 points ahead of almost every team in the Super 8. Maybe 15, something like that. And I mean, like, look at what they did to Napier boys, and Napier just beat Hastings. And I'm not sure if Hastings can slow that down. I don't think Hamilton can slow that down either, and I don't think that they have the matchup, you know, the matchups to offset what Tauranga boys are doing. So when I look at the wins that Tauranga boys have had, and then I look at the wins in the way that St. Kennigan's is playing, I had to make that switch and make Tauranga boys number 1. And St. Kennigan's will stay number 2. And whoever loses first, we'll switch them back when it is. But at this time, they're just playing better, scoring bigger in a better competition, and it's just the way that it is right now. And I mean, you know, like, people have DM'd me and private messaged and said, you know, why is Tauranga so low and why is this and that? It's just like, well, I take preseason into account as well. I take players that they've lost, and I mean, like, think about all the players that they lost from last year. So you don't really know how it's going to go this year. And so when I saw them play, I saw when they came back, they need to change that Auckland Grammar game, because they lost to Auckland Grammar in preseason. They came back from Argentina and Chile, and then they played Auckland Grammar, and then they lost. I think if they played Auckland Grammar again, like this week, I think they'll put 25, maybe 30 on them. Because Tauranga is just that much better right now. Which is the same reason why I had Rotorua boys so high, because they never lost the preseason. They beat Rotorua in preseason, they beat St. Peter's in preseason. You know, they were just a exciting team.
Come on, Morty. Now play.
Now, which brings me to my next team. What is going on with Rotorua boys? Now here's the thing, right? I've always talked about Rotorua boys and how young that they are. Well, that young, that youth that we're seeing and that we know that those players are, that youth is really showing up right now. And what's happening is that I feel like the team that they were in preseason to the team that they are now are very different teams. And the reason why I say that is like, you know, they were, you know, they were an exciting team. You know, they were a youthful kind of team in preseason. They were a team that was sort of willing to throw the ball around, willing to chance things. They played with such pace and they had a great timing. They were confident. They had all these things going for them. You know, they had, like I said, youth on their side. I mean, I think they have maybe 13 to maybe 15 players that can all come back next year. That all should be back next year. Or maybe 18. Around 18 players can come back next year. They should be back next year. And so, like, we're talking about a really, really young team, and we've had some of those guys that played under 15 nationals last year come up, like, move into the first 15, and they are somewhat like a rebuilding stage. But because they did so great in preseason is the reason why I ranked them so high. Like, I knew that they were going to be young and they were going to lose some games because of their youth, but right now is that time where they're starting to lose games. Now, this was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen the way that it was going to happen. Now, yes, Tauranga hurt them a lot. Then they just lost on Saturday to Hamilton boys. 2 big scores. This is where they've got to find a way to pick themselves back up. Yes, they're all young and they don't have that much experience, but someone's got to do it. Someone on their team has got to do it. Like, Lecky can't do it by himself. Sitaleki can't do it by himself. Even as the captain, he can't. William Braley, Leon Edmonds, guys like that from last year. Even Mark Rounds, who doesn't start all the time, you know, because they got 2 really good hookers, him and Bronson Vanderhayden, like, but they're still seniors on the team, and they should be able to. They should say. They actually should just be cheerleaders for their teams. Realize what the situation that they're in, and then now they all got to learn together as a team how to fight to get out of this. Cody Rennis is young, like I said. Bronson's young. You still got Hunter Weaver. You still got Jake Hutchinson. Hutchings. Obviously, Tiariki Rogers at number 8 is really young. He's only year 11. Granted, he's going to be a really good player, but he's still just year 11. You know, you can't expect someone who's year 11 to lead your way. Year 12, maybe. Like, that's where Hunter, Jake, Cody comes into it. You know, guys like, I mean, Isiali's probably like one as well. Granted, he's still young too, but they're also kind of the year 12s that have to pick themselves up and just get into it. Tyson Hansen, Heike McGarvey, like those kind of guys, like you all just kind of have to do it as a team. And you have to learn to forget what just happened. You have to learn to forget what couple of weeks you guys have had and just go, F this, let's just start again. And let's start, let's just start from this game. This is like, let's just piece these off and divide these into not just one game. This is, this is 15 minutes and another 15 minutes, and let's just divide these into 15 minutes in our first game. Divide the second half. Let's just count on these 15 minutes. Let's go from ruck to ruck. Let's go from opportunity to opportunity and just break it down like that and just get better, smaller, and just build your way all the way back up to where you were. It's not the end of the season. You have a young team. There's always next year, but learn from what you're going through right now. Because these are the feelings that you don't want to have next year. These are the learning experiences that you don't want to have next year. You just kind of want to learn it now while it's happening. Next year, you just know how to take care of it. Everybody's going to be on board. Everyone's going to go, okay, even if you lose a game next year, you got to go, we know what this feels like. This is how you pick yourselves up. But this team is young. The excuse is that they're young. It's a valid excuse. But in preseason, they had all these traits. They had all these, all this energy. They had this vibe. They had this camaraderie as a team. It's fading away. Pull it back in. That's how I would do it. And you have to do it as a team. This is not an individual thing, guys. It's not. It's not an individual thing. Sometimes it's not even a coaching thing. You guys know what you guys are in right now. You guys all know how it feels right now, what you're feeling, and what you've felt for the past 2 weeks now. So you guys as a team, hold each other accountable, hold each other to a higher standard, set your guys' goals as individuals and as a team, ones that are realistic, the ones that you can get, that you can actually achieve, so you can make some of these steps, and then just do your best. That's all you can ask for, is just people that to just do their best. When it doesn't work out, scrub it again, start again. It's kind of the great thing about life, is there's always things that you can just start again all the time. But those are my thoughts on Rotorua boys. That's where I had Rotorua boys from the beginning of the season, and of course they're going to drop. Of course they're going to drop in rankings. That's just how it goes from week to week. You win, you keep moving up. You lose, you drop back. That's just how it is.
Ready?
One of the other ones, the other team that I wanted to talk about was, Rathkeale. What Rathkeale is going through right now, and of course, I guess a lot of people don't know, who Rathkeale is, and I think a lot of people have just found out who Rathkeale is based on, following, high school top 200. Because in all honesty, I didn't know who Rathkeale was until I started this. I didn't know that there was a Rathkeale that was, that was a school. But this team, they're really doing something. They're doing better as a team. I think they sit 4th on the CNI. They've beaten. They've beaten Whanganui Collegiate. They've beaten Francis Douglas. Teams that they've never beaten before. I guess you could say that they're in a new. How would you say it? I think they're at a new stage in their they're in a new stage as a rugby program, and for what they've been able to achieve, and that's great. That's great. And I think when you, I guess, try and sum it up, or you try and figure out how and why, I think that they've gone through this old school approach. I think they've done it with big time forwards. Obviously, Johnny's Falloon's the guy that you would look to straight away and go, well, he's a massive reason why. And it's not wrong. Yeah, he's a massive reason why. Because when you've got a lock who's 6'8" and massive and all that kind of stuff, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get this big guy who can move bodies, takes hits, gains ground every time he carries the ball. Great in the lineup. Probably be better if they could lift him faster, get him up there. But I think that Hamish Huggins is probably another guy as well who's played a big role in this. Even when they played St. Peter's and they beat St. Peter's, Hamish was one of the big standouts on that team, along with Johnny. I think the fact that they've got what's his name, Rupeni Koroi playing at number 8 now is another good reason, because you have some of those waves of runners that can carry the ball, that can make meters, that are falling forward all the time, things like that. Who is it? Edward is probably Weatherston is the other guy as well at lock, who's a year 12, who's just another big Johnny, and next year he's going to be an even better player, knows a lot more of what he wants to of what to do and how to do it, and he's just going to be another big massive asset as well. But he definitely helps in that, especially in that forward structure. I guess Brandon Matthews being back, playing at open side. He's one of those bigger, faster, longer kind of guys, plays with a lot of high tempo, makes great tackles, doesn't need help tackling, good one-on-one tackler, and he's only year 11, so it's only going to get better. It's only going to get bigger for him. But having that big forward pack running around, matching up well with other guys, I think, because I went to the Rathkeale St. Paul's collegiate game, this was 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, and St. Paul's won 33-3. I think if they played again, it's not going to be that. I don't think they're going to beat St. Paul's, but I think it's going to be a 22-12 kind of scoreline. It's not going to be a demolishing or anything like that. I think they're going to match up well, because one thing I didn't like, and this is going back to that St. Paul's game, is that I didn't feel because Xavier Cook to me is their best back. I know that Ritama and what's his name, Spencer Telford are really good players, real active players, but to me it's Xavier Cook. In that game, I didn't feel like he got the ball enough to make an impact and to show that I'm a threat. Like for me, I like to, like if I have a best player, I'm gonna exploit him. I'm going to make the other team know, oh, this guy's a big deal, and I'm gonna make it real early. I'm gonna give Xavier the ball. I'm gonna make him run. I'm gonna make him show his speed, show his footwork, show his ball skills, show his creativity and things like that early on in the game, just to give him that that attention and that focus on him, and then work around him. I don't think that in that game they even gave him a shot to even do that. There weren't even plays for him to do it, where the other two, Tama and Spencer, were getting a lot of the ball, but they were just, it was like the game plan was to use Xavier as a decoy, as a, like that, when St. Paul's weren't even that aware of who they were going against. Whereas on the other side, they had Salesi on the other side of St. Paul's, and straight away they gave him the ball. He made a couple of steps, he made some crash balls, did this big massive skip pass out to the wing, which just exposed the sideline, and then all of a sudden he was the target. But on the other side, they didn't do that for Xavier, and to me they should. Yes, I know Xavier is a big deal. Sometimes other guys don't, and they don't know how good he is. For me, I would have made Xavier the point of defense every single time. Obviously, Johnny's going to be the guy in the forwards, because look at the big massive dude, They're going to go, shoot, we remember this guy from last year because of his hair and how big and massive he is. It's like, we're not going to let him get too much ground. Johnny's going to get his ground when he wants to get his ground. It's just how it is. Then Hamish added on after that, I think, but like Brandon was still injured. I think Kuroi was coming off the bench in that game too. Rupini was coming off the bench. But I think that the team that they have now is just a better put together team, and I think that's the one that they're playing with now. And so like what they're doing now is working for them. Beating Whanganui Collegiate, beating St. Peter's, beating Francis Douglas. To me, this is going to be a good year, and I think that they need to realize now that for their school they're making history, and they need to keep that rolling and doing that game by game. Don't get too ahead of themselves, do it game by game, and I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. Their aim should probably be the top four, and in the CNI, and see how far they can get to that, and if they can stay at that level. But yeah, they took out some big guys already, and it's hard to say with Rathkeale because they've always laid sort of at the bottom of that competition for most years, and they've had some really good players come out as individuals, but as a team they've never done this great, and it's so cool seeing it actually work out right now. It's cool seeing them in this mode. I was watching on Wednesday. I was watching that Silver Stream and Rongotai game, and I think to me, like, St. Pat's Silverstream is going to be, you know, who they are, you know. And I think that when you have a team like St. Pat's Silverstream, it's never going to be easy to, I guess, break them down in the game, because it will like break down the team because of how many players they have in their team that are above role players. Because to me, they don't have superstars. There's not a superstar in their team. They have great players, but to me, they're not superstars. Like even Drew, Berg McLean, who is their captain or co-captain with Thompson, Tukapua, like, I don't think they're like superstars. And Drew is like a young year 7, like as a young year 13. And he only turned 17 this year. If he had like another year, but you know, Silverstream don't do year 14s. I feel like he'll be like a New Zealand secondary school player if he did like another year. Just because he's so young, you know, he's so young. But they don't really have any superstars in their team. But if you look at their forward pack as a whole, they match up with almost everybody in the country. Like they're that strong as a team. Like even Heath, Jericho and Noah as a front row. Like to me, I would be confident to put them up against Tauranga's front row. Or I would be confident to put them up against Nelson College front row, which they have had. You know, like even up against, you know, someone like St. Kinnigan's front row or King's College. Like I would do that against Southland. Like I think that Silverstream's front row is that good. Then they have the locks to go along with that, you know, like Preston and Samuel. Preston, like more Nanu is like one of the guys that I've been watching for like the last 5 games of theirs, and just like really watching how dominant he is. And I've been hesitant to sort of move him up in the rankings, but I think I have to move him up, because he's just done so much on the field, and he makes such a big difference when he's on the field and when he's not on the field. Like his value in that forward pack is a lot more than what you'd usually think. Like I'd put him up there with Drew if they took him out. Like even with Elijah Solomon not being in there for 2 weeks now, I think it is. They've been able to, like Kingston Hill has been able to fill that role like pretty good. Like it's not like he's failing it at all. To me with Preston, I have a feeling that the standard drops a little bit if he's not there. Even though Sam Thompson's good, I think Preston's got just a little bit more. And then you've got Kean, you know, you got Thompson, you got Preston, Maraku, obviously Liam Slight, like those guys like that, like they're always going to be there. So when they played on Wednesday, Rongotai, to me, they had such a really good first half. Even though the score was like 70 or whatever, that's not what the first half looked like, you know. And I don't know if it comes down to their confidence as a team, but once they started that second half, they did not look the same. And you could tell that when Silverstream scored straight away off the kickoff. Rongotai just looked different. It just had a different feeling to it. Almost like they settled for a really good first half. And they stopped moving up fast. They let tackles slip off that they weren't letting slip off in the first half. The boys weren't committing to rucks. They weren't trying to slow it down. They weren't trying to, be physical up front when in the first half they did. And I felt like a lot of those guys gave up. I just had this feeling like a lot of those guys spent it all in the first half and just said, just send it in a second, who cares, They kind of had that, I don't know if it is, I just had that feeling when I was watching it. Because I really liked the way that Fiu was playing, the number 8. He went like the whole time. He was still playing the whole time. Him, Aaron Gollin was the other one, and then Jay Phillip was the other one, who was a 10 and 15. Also that number 7 and number 1, I actually like those two as well, those two brothers. Those guys to me the whole time. Oh, and the number 4, the big, the lock, the Vento or something like that. Sorry bro, I can't remember your name. It's just kind of trying to think of it off the top of my head. But there were only like 6-7 players that were still playing in that second half from Rongotai. And to me, the rest of them was just like, whatever. That's how it looked to me. My thing is that if you had them in the first half and you weren't letting anything silly, like the tries that Silverstream actually got in the first half, they actually had to work for those tries. In the second half, obviously it was 70 points, so it was just like, it was like a tap that was just turned on and they were just running through it, it was kind of like that. But in that first half, they made Silverstream work for stuff. They never backed off, they never backed down, they fronted up in every tackle, the line was moving faster, and second half it dropped off. I don't know if Rongotai just doesn't have that confidence, but they should, because they actually have it there. They showed in that first half that they are that team. I don't understand, and they're probably going to have to talk about this later on, is just we've got to do something about those second halves. Now, if you can play that good in the first half, you can definitely duplicate that in the second half. It was kind of the same in Wellington. Wellington, when they played Wellington, it was the same thing. They had a really good first half. They started off winning from the beginning. Second half came, and it just it just wasn't what the first half was. I don't know what the team needs, but it feels like they play really good first halves. And then they start thinking about what they're going to do after the game, kind of thing. Or they're just content with what they did in the first half and go, cool, we did what we could. These guys are obviously a better team. We did what we could do. Let's just let them have it, kind of thing. And there's only a few boys that just stick around and they keep going and they keep going. The other boys on the team need to have that same kind of confidence. It's yeah, look what we did in this first half. They may be winning, but we're making them work for their points. And I think, sometimes kids, I don't think you kids sometimes understand this. It's when coaches look for things, they don't look for like success. They look more for your efforts. They look more for your attitude. They look more for how you are as a teammate. They look more for how much hard work you can put into something. They don't look for an end product, because that kind of stuff comes with experience and time. People are born with talents and then they're built on after that. But coaches look at the guy who has the talent and says, how much hard work do you do after that talent? That's why they have that saying where, talent, hard work beats talent. Because that's what it is. The reason why people make it to professionalism is because they work hard, they stay working hard. It's not because they're just talented, it's their talent is working hard. If that's any talent that you want, it would be that one. It's to work hard. Have that talent to work hard. That talent can actually be developed too, because you don't have to pay anything for hard work. That doesn't cost money. That's an attitude switch. Rongotai, to me, has talent. Sometimes they just don't have that second half switch where they just like, let's just carry this on, let's just carry this on. I don't know what it was. I was kind of disappointed, only because I thought, far out, this is a pretty cool half. They've really made Silverstream work, who's like one of the best teams in the country right now, and they just faded away like Sheifu in the second half. Like it was hard to kind of watch, because I was really impressed with what they did in the first half. Those were like my thoughts on it.
You gotta pop, you gotta fucking pop. You gotta pop. Hayden, look at your face. You can beat him. Fuck, look, Hayden, look! Get on the football! Go, Hayden! Come on, boy!
I mean, like, even if you look at like New Plymouth boys, they were kind of the same. New Plymouth boys should have won that game against Palmy. That try in the first 33 seconds is like, they try in the first 33 seconds, and then the try where was it Jamie chipped in, right towards the end of the last 5 minutes, chipped over and clicked at his own ball and scored the try when they had the yellow card. The yellow card actually didn't have that much of an effect at that moment, because that individual brilliance was just individual brilliance. It had nothing to do with, mismatching of the numbers. He did it right in front of, 4 people that were just right there. So like, yeah, just one of those things that when I was watching. I think I want to talk about 5 players that I've been watching, and I kind of want to do this more often. These are 5 players that I've been watching and I've been impressed with over the last couple of weeks. So like when I watch games, and the way that I choose my my team of the week is that I sort of like make a little chart, a little simple chart that has, New Plymouth and Palmy, and then as I'm watching the game, I write down the number of the person, the number on the back of the person of who I think's having a good game in that game. Then out of when I've watched all the games that week, I sort of sit down, I start circling who the guys that I thought, the ones that I picked out were like main game changers that I thought I was impressed with. I'm looking at now guys that have who I've started to notice, and that have started making top 200 rankings, moving up, things like that. The first one was Fetu McGee from Gisborne Boys. Watching him over the past 3 weeks now, even in pre-season, he's gotten better from the pre-season all the way up to now. To me, he's the one in Gisborne that has been sort of the mongrel guy in that team, has put on some big heavy hits, has shown that he's like the enforcer, and scrumming has been great. His around the field has also been really great as well, in terms of when he carries balls, he makes sure that he gains meters, he makes it hard for defense to come and cover him, things like that, and like I think it showed in his game, where he's been able to make that point of difference and get that line bending in the defense so that they can start making runs, and so the backs have some shots. And over the last few weeks or so, I've been watching him, and I thought, far out, this guy's made a difference in every game that I've been watching of him over the last few weeks. The second one is Hamish Melville, who was from Timaru Boys. He's a prop as well, and I was like sneaky, like watching him in a way that I kept writing his number down because he got injured for a bit. But the other games, like early on, I started writing his number down, and I was thinking, oh shoot, I was like, so I didn't realize I was writing it down that many times, and then when I went back, I was thinking, oh shoot, this guy, I've actually missed him. I've been watching him, but missed him when it came to rankings. So that's why he's one of the new guys that I've ranked. I've put up in the rankings, just this past ranking for the top 200. It's just he's just a solid prop. One of those farm boy southern kind of props, no nonsense guy, big heavy physical guy, cleans bodies out, just does his work about, and I like he doesn't take a step back from anybody. Set some solid scrums too, and I'm actually kind of re-evaluating what my ranking of props are, because I kind of think I missed him out, and I've only just realized how good I actually think he is. And I remember him from last year, didn't really take notice of him that much, knew who he was, and then when I started looking at all the games of Timaru, so I've watched 6 Timaru games since pre-season this year, and I've just realized how good he actually was, and I pretty gutted that I missed it from the start. But he's the other guy that I've been watching. Kane Dines is the other one too. Dines or Danes? I think it's Dines. But he's the captain for Otago Boys. One of the best locks in the country. Hands down, it's got to be one of the best locks in the country. And I think he looks about 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", but he's wide. He's thick. He's a big lock. And his leadership is also one thing that I like about him, because he does the work first kind of thing, and I watch him and I don't know how vocal he is, but I always see him doing the work. I always see him doing the work first. And I think this is where, like, you wish that that Highlanders region show more games or live stream more games, because then we get to see him. And I think, like, people miss the point of having live stream games is to open up opportunities. Like, if you just have him shown in the south, it means that his opportunities are just seen by the people in the south. If you put it on YouTube, then everyone in the country gets to see him. Everyone in the world that chooses to watch First 15 Rugby in New Zealand gets to see him and gets to throw him opportunities. Kane is like one of those guys. Unless they're doing it on purpose and they're saying, please don't televise his games because we don't want to lose him. Now, I can understand that, but it doesn't help him. That's just like cutting down his opportunities. But to me, I mean, if I was in Chiefs, talent ID, I would go for him straight away, 100%. Like, I think that he should be up there in that conversation of the top locks in the country. Obviously, there's George, who I've got number 1. I've got Johnny as well, who I've just been talking about. Finn, both Finns actually, from Auckland Grammar and from Christchurch Boys. You still got Kane. You still got Harry Law. You still got. I'm missing someone. I mean, I think you could put Preston there if you're really looking at it. You could put Preston in there too. Then you got some of these guys like Jacob Carter and that, who are all Logan Platt. all these guys who are year 12s too, who are already sort of up there in sort of locks, came to me as like one of the top guys. And I don't know about New Zealand secondary schools, because I have an argument for him to make it, but because there's some really good locks, you know, you're not really too sure. But right now for me, I would probably pick him as a lock, because not only does he that mold that people want, but I think he does the front up stuff that you want those big locks to do straight away. And I think he'll be one of those solid picks too. Hunter Kennedy is probably my other one, fullback from Palmy Boys. The last 3 games, he's just been. If he was like on NRL fantasy, he would be like Tom Trebojevic kind of thing, or maybe like a Fuller who's scoring 50, 60 points a game. Like, he runs and gives you those kind of meters. And over the last few weeks, you just keep noticing it more and more. Runs great lines, chances, you know, he's not scared to test things out, or, you know, to have a try, and it seems to pay off. Really does seem to pay off. And he seems to be scoring these 50, 60 meter tries all the time, or gets these real big runs and then sets up a try and opens up, you know, defensive line, things like that. You know, it's just so cool to watch. And he's another one that's like, you know, moved up the ranks as well. And I thought, man, I just can't, you know, there's no reason for me to hold him back a bit more. He's got to jump up a bit in these rankings, and I've got to get him up there. So he's another one for you to watch out to. He's, Hunter Kennedy from Palmy Boys. He plays fullback. The other one I want to talk about is Mason Verster, and he's the first 5 for Tauranga Boys. The thing about Mason is he's not flash. He's not flash, and there's so many flash guys on that team that he gets looked over pretty easily. Like I said, you got Kelly and you got Judah, and you got both like Aiden, both Aidens on the team, the winger and the number 8. You got the 2 big boys up front. You obviously got Aaron, and then you've got the New Zealand secondary school halfback. So Mason doesn't really get a look at, because he's not that flash. But when it comes down to scouting a player, breaking down his play, Mason's probably going to be, it's probably the best first 5 here in the Chiefs region. And the value that he brings, along with a kicking game, is that he doesn't hold the ball back from getting it to the people that need to get the ball. And people sometimes don't see that kind of value. But remember, he's the first 5, the one that is always going to really touch the ball. Now, he can either hold it and be greedy, or he can say Judah needs this ball, or he could say Aiden needs it on a cut, or he could say, let's double up in this space, let's set 2 rucks, and let's just give the ball and like have this flow. He can easily mess this team up if he wanted to. If he wanted to hog that ball. And sometimes guys don't see the value in how important that is for first 5 just to give the ball along. Sometimes the less that ball is in the hand of the first 5, the better that team runs. And him knowing that, and him being okay with just giving the ball along, finding his spots to make a difference, whether it be kicking downfield, which he's great at, finding grass, which he's great at, dropping back and cover when Aaron moves up into the line, which he's great at, you know, and then covering ground. And he's pretty fast for a first five when you don't really like think about it that way. He's pretty fast as a first five, and he is like the unsung hero, and he is kind of the one that's a little bit hidden. If I was choosing the Chiefs first five today for the under 18s, he would be the guy that I'd probably go to. And I don't know, like, I don't think much guys would challenge that, but I think he would be the one. And it's a big reason why that Tauranga team is winning right now. But those are the five. So if you happen to check them out, Fetu McGee from Gisborne Boys, who's a prop, Hamish Melville, who's also a prop from Timaru Boys, Kane Dines, who's Otago Boys lock and he's a captain, Hunter Kennedy, who's the fullback for Palmy Boys, and then Tauranga Boys first five, Mason Verster as well. But I hope you picked some stuff up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to ask questions, go ahead and ask, because those are the ones that I covered today. Pretty much with the Rotorua Boys, the Rathkeale, you know, like those, Rongotai. Those are questions that were asked of me and the things I was thinking about anyway. But yeah. Herschel Fruin, thank you for listening. Love you all. Later, ball.